There are a lot of significant and symbolic numbers in the world, actually. But for the Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise for Gauntlet, that number is 3. 3 is the magic number. You need that many wins to get through to week 6. Once you've got that, you'll do pretty well. For our runners today, crono200 and drcossack, they have one of those. Now it's time to see if they can get that second one on the board. My name's Podrek. I'm here today with Smapedy on the restream and Tadell on the tracking, and my partner in Twisted Flax. You're in a similar position to these, aren't you, with a 1-1 record in this tournament? How does it fit into you?
About me and half the other players, I think, are currently at 1-1. It is, you're on a knife edge because you know that if you match here, you have 2 shots to make it into the final bracket phase, or at least play it into the bracket. But if you lose here, you know you're up against it. You've got to win the last 2 matches to make it.
Indeed. So hopefully one of these 2 runners will get going today. The other one is going to be on that knife edge, like you said. But things aren't the end of the world with a loss here. There's still plenty of opportunities to get you forward.
Absolutely. Both these runners, no matter what happens, will still be in the running to make it to that final bracket phase starting in 3 weeks.
Seems I'm a little bit robot, so I'm going to have to leave it to you to start up the seed. I'll be right back, and hopefully I'll have everything on my side fixed.
Sure, no problem. Although I think I might be robotic as well. We're going to talk it over with Smapedy, see if we can get this fixed. But in the meantime, in case I am coming through fine, we do have a C where we're starting off with a Porum and a... We're also starting off. We have to find the package and burn the village down, and we have to get Kane. That's 3 characters we need to find. So we're going to have to prioritize trying to find those locations that will give us characters. In the meantime, we see that Chrono and drcossack are running through their standard item grabs. Considering that we do need to find 3 characters, you'd think that that package is going to be very important. It's not only the 4th objective, but you also will get a character check with that. Meanwhile, we see drcossack's running over to Damsian to going to unearth the hovercraft, while Chrono is going to go back into Mist and get the items there as well.
And I do believe I'm back. Hopefully, I'm sounding a little bit better now.
I think we've got it all fixed up, but now we can hear your wonderful voice.
That's good. So, what have I missed?
Well, we have a 3-character seed where we have to find Yang, Rydia, and Kane. And since we're starting with Rydia, that's going to be the duplicate.
Liberate Baron Castle and Burn Mist. And they started out with the Baron key, so that's one of their objectives out of the way. So it's really a character hunt, isn't it?
It is, especially with that package as being the 4th objective.
Yeah. Very character centric. 3 character. That Baron Castle also gives the character. So yeah, this could be a very quick one, depending on where that package.
Exactly. It's a situation where you can pretty much clear this up in the overworld, or it's a situation where you're going to have to go to the giant. You're going to have to go every place where you can find a character. In the meantime, especially given this start, I don't blame him for going to, drcossack here is going to Troya to clear out not the treasury, but all the other items you can get there. Since you're starting with the Porum and the Rydia, you're going to need a lot more equipment than you normally need to start this seed.
Well, that's a good start in that Troya treasury. The curse ring in the very first chest. And I think I just saw a heroine robe as well. So some bows and arrows. Give all that to Porum. Give a dancing dagger to Rydia. You're all on the way.
Absolutely. We've seen both the runners taking the opportunity to grab that hovercraft early. And when you say that you do need to get basically all the character checks done, it does make sense, because when you do find that hook, you can grab the character there.
Yeah. Of course, it might not be that hook seed that people are actually looking for in this one. A much trollier situation would be that magma key and the hook being behind something, and then young Rydia or Kane being there. That's a nice summon on Hobbs.
Absolutely. Pretty much after the first battle, as soon as you have that, I believe, 25 MP to cast it, you can cast that as much as you want, and that's a really nice early find. Yeah,
that is a very, very much needed source of damage with these 2 characters. Do need a little bit of levels, or maybe a couple of soma drops for Rydia, but yeah, no, as you said, once you get a couple, got a couple of levels, we're good to go.
drcossack apparently believes he has enough to go through Antline with just these 2 characters, while Chrono is going to go up the 3rd character in Hobbs and find a Sid, which is not one of the 3 we need.
Not one of the 3 we need, but definitely someone who can give out a little bit of damage and survivability in this early stage. Rydia, Porum don't really give that, but Sid brings it in spades.
They both start with a very low level of HP, so having that Sid there, having that 700 odd hit points to soak up some damage is a very good option.
Yeah. The only unfortunate bit there was that Rydia wasn't alive to get the experience. That would have given her enough to cast that Sylph as many times as you want, because for some strange reason, Final Fantasy IV gets a few things mixed up in coding, and Sylph doesn't actually use the MP that it states. You can, as long as you've got 25 MP, you can then cast it for free as many times as you like.
Just one of the several bugs that we take advantage of.
Yeah.
The D-Lunars over in Antline, which is one of those bosses you'd like to see early, because it can be a little bit of a bother trying to get through its scripts.
Yeah, and with the basic starting kit, you're given a little stack of Cure 2s, and those Cure 2s will do about 300 damage, which is 2/3 of their health, so very easy just to take them down with those items. Dr. Cossack through that fight, didn't have too many issues, took a little bit of damage. Chrono's going to have a little bit of an easier time because of the Sid, and I believe he's got Sid with a silver hammer, which does holy damage. So should should one-shot those D-Loons. Also making use of an exit he's found, so he gets out of that place pretty much quickly and is on his way, likely to Hobbs to check for that character, which we know is Sid, but he'll take it nonetheless. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that the silver hammer does holy damage. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I'm pretty sure it does.
I think you're right on that, yes.
Or is effective against undead, which is pretty much exactly what you need it for.
And you can see the amount of damage that self-summon can do on Dr. Cossack's screen right now.
Yeah. Also got a number of little extra bits of equipment, so the extra protection is making sure that Rydia stays alive to get them self-summons off, and those sylphs will just do the rest of the work with healing up at the same time. Shadonix, getting Rydia does not count out for the adult. Basically, what we need to do is just find her in a character location. The starting 2 characters do not count for objectives, so there is a duplicate Rydia out there that we need to go and find, and then recruit into our party. Don't have to keep them, so we can dismiss them straight away, but they do need to be found at the very least. Chrono's doing fairly well against these D-Lunars. Did trigger the virus script for them, but Sid mops it up fairly well. Rydia stays alive, so should be picking up a bit of experience, and maybe that extra little bit of MP to get Sylph running.
Yes, the good thing about, even if you do trigger the virus script on the D-Lunars, they just have so few hit points that you can pretty much power through it.
Yeah, I think he used a Bacchus wine for that as well, which I'm not too certain if that was the correct time to use it, but it's definitely an option that he took.
Yes, as we see the dolls invading Fabul.
Oh, he's got a Stardust in his inventory. This is free then. If he had...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, if he didn't have that, this fight might be a little bit more dangerous.
It's one of those situations where it's before you get a lot of good AoE damage, but with that Stardust application right there, no problem whatsoever for Dr. Cossack. Obviously, Chrono just about to do the same fight as well.
Since I wasn't here for the start, I didn't really see their looting patterns, so I don't know if Chrono's got the same items or not, but the one thing he doesn't quite have is the same levels or same bits of experience on Porum. Yes, this is very early on, the experience is very low, and you will get more later, but not having those levels means you're missing out on Cure 2, you're missing out on defenses.
Well, if Crono can get through this fight, he'll be rewarded with the Darkness Crystal, which Dr. Cossack just got, which opens up some very interesting routing decisions.
Yeah, Darkness Crystal before Underworld access is always a stickling point.
You have a free character waiting for you right up there on the subtrain, but it's going to take a little bit of time to go through the cutscenes to do it. So it's a question of, do you go now, get it, maybe get a good character who's behind a gate, so it could be a Fu or an Edge, or you continue to go through the overworld and try to find that underground access first.
With considering how many characters are good for you in this, you've got to find Young, you've got to find Kane, you've got to find that second Riddy. You can find Fu or Edge, like you said. I would go there personally, because you're wanting you've got a 50% chance, I would say, of actually getting someone you want, maybe even better than that, and then just ride it from that. The tricky part is, do you want to stay up there? My first inclination would be no, unless I find someone really good.
You do have the Hummingway shop to look at as well. It could be a situation where if you find a magic combination of sirens and coffins, you can get a lot of experience very quickly.
Yeah, and Dr. Cossack is going straight up to the moon. And going to check that character, likely go and check that Hummingway shop, like you said, see if there's anything decent in there. If those sirens and coffins are both there, I can actually see there being a very quick, or at least a small grind on the moon in some of the earlier levels where there's packs of Warlock, and just using the coffins on those. I don't think the money situation gives that as a great grind, but it's a possibility.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Chrono has angered the dolls and got Calbrainer.
Yeah, and Calbrainer says, "Sid, can you help me?" And Sid goes gladly, and then hits Vidya in the head with that hammer. Yeah. Calbrainer in the big doll. There's a number of little bits of difficulties with it. Charm is one of them. If you use any elemental attacks, it does actually counter with an elemental counter attack. Something you don't see in the vanilla game because you don't have elemental attacks at that stage. But and if you get it low enough but don't quite kill it, it will split out into its 6 dolls again. So you have to go through it all over again.
Right, but thankfully this spot doesn't have the greatest amount of hit points, so Chrono was able to power through it. And meanwhile, we get one of the characters we didn't really talk anything about. That was Dark Knight Cecil.
Dark Knight Cecil. We've already seen today in the earlier match the power that Cecil can bring to you. We don't have those options right now, but there are those coffins. So that's a possibility. We also sort of need to go up ordeals to actually power him up, find him some decent gear, and then maybe he can help us. Right now, probably would have liked better one, either that Edge or Fu, if you wanted to find someone that wasn't required in the seed.
Right, and finding the Cecil there makes you pretty much say, I can't grind right now because any levels you got on him, well, they don't carry over once he becomes a paladin, so it's back to the earth to you.
Yeah. May bring him, may make him go for that Ordeals play now, and that could be our underground access, so it might quicken his way underground.
Absolutely, and we see Chrono is going to be following in Dr. Cossack's footsteps, or whale steps, maybe, going to the moon.
I wouldn't be surprised. They've had a bit of a crisscross over the with Hobbs and Lion being swapped over for them, but they've been following the same sort of pattern in terms of where else they've gone. So he'll likely be going up to the moon, checking that Hummingway shop, picking up that Dark Knight Cecil, and likely following Dr. Cossack up ordeal.
That would make a lot of sense to me.
We do still have a couple of places on the overworld where our underground access could be it the hook or the magma key. One of them is up here on Ordeals, the other one is in the Baron Inn with our character there.
Could also be in the castle since we did get the key to start with.
That is very true. Yes, we do need to liberate a Baron Castle. The character there is getting more likely to be someone we want. So we could have that, yes.
And of course, it could be a case where one of the key item spots gives us a twin harp, which means we get to hear some music, and that could hold our progression downward.
A long chain to get down into the underground is interesting. I'm not too sure, or if we want to keep it a long chain, but maybe just a mini chain, because I do want something really long gate in that package.
Yes, meanwhile, the Water Hag being the first boss there, obviously is a free boss, so drcossack has no problem getting through it, and we find Odin in the back attack spot.
I'm happy with this. Water Hag was pretty much a weak boss in an easy spot. This Odin in the back attack spot, though, he's going to get 2 attacks pretty much straight off without any reply, which means he's got 1 more until the Odin attack. I only see Sid surviving that Odin attack at this moment in time.
Right, he throws out a slow to try to make this give him as many chances as possible. He has that lit bolt item, which does a good amount of damage there. That
lit bolt probably is the difference maker there. 2,200 damage, a couple of sylphs from Rydia, and Cecil trying to help should finish this up right now.
That's exactly what happens.
Chrono is following up Ordeals, so we've got a very standard path that both runners are following here.
So far, no deviations, but there really hasn't been many chances for deviations, aside from maybe fading the darkest crystal till later, but that didn't really make much sense. So I think it makes sense that we're having sort of a bit of an overlap right now.
Yeah, indeed. The only other one that could have been was them staying up on the moon, but that didn't make any sense either. You're really wanting to be where the characters are, and apart from that one character up on the Lunar Deus up on the moon, they're all on the Earth. And that Earth crystal, there's 2 of them behind that.
And our third boss here is just a Mylon Z.
Not too bad here. It's only got 1,000 hit points. That Dancing Dagger, Sylph, and Sid should finish this up fairly quickly. Even a couple of twos will be fine here.
You're always hoping to see one of the more nastier bosses in the game in this situation because it's a weak location. But yeah, no problems there.
Mylon Z isn't really a dangerous boss. So weak to holy, weak to flying, or anti-flying weapons. So bows and arrows and a few other things, spears. You really don't mind seeing Mylon Z. Mylon of the Gas can be a little bit more tricky, but I don't mind finding Mylon Z. It's got plenty of weaknesses that you can exploit.
Right. So now that we have the Earth Crystal, do we do that now?
Good question. We've got potential divergence here. We've got the Baron Inn, we've got the Baron Castle, and we've got the Earth Crystal. Baron Inn would be my first inclination for these people, and then actually I think both would probably go down the vanilla routing. Ordeal's Baron in Baron Castle, Earth Crystal.
I think I'd probably want to do the same thing as well. If anything, just to get a few easy levels on Cecil here on that first fight in the Baron Inn.
Yeah, the first fight will give him around 8 levels, I believe the standard deviation is, depending on if there's any split experience or not. After that, it gives you a little bit, but it doesn't give you a lot of options for Cecil, especially with the amount of equipment we don't have.
Right. But it's a technically free boss, but I have to imagine with only 400 hit points, I believe, these things will be going down very quickly. I mean, while Chrono, I see, is also had a little issue with Odin and had to take a reset.
Yeah, this isn't a nice spot for Odin, and there's no two ways about it. This is not a nice space for him, and he's using that lip bolt on the wrong character. Really, it should be on Sid that's using it, because lip bolts are done. They're based on your character's HP. It does 50% of roughly of your HP in damage, and if it hits an elemental weakness, it then does extra. Because Odin is 4 times weak against lightning, that's why it was doing 2,200 when Sid used it. Cecil, you get 400.
That probably not going to be enough there. We have the sisters over as the second boss in the inn, and it's that wonderful location where I believe Mindy outspeeds Sandy, and so burns her sister for a good 500 damage.
Which is exactly what you want here, because this spot can get tricky with these 3. They're not fast. This spot isn't fast. But the magic power and attack power are surprisingly robust.
But we see the middle sister going down, so it's only a matter of time probably until the other 2 go down as well, especially when you're doing damage like that.
Yeah, Sid with that Rune Axe does make a big difference against the Mega Sisters, since they are mages and Rune Axe does 4 times damage to any mage it hits. That's a nice weapon for Cecil.
You always like to see that one on Kane, but in a pinch, Cecil will take that as well.
Yeah, we haven't seen a Lunar Sword, a Night Sword. So a defense sword with its very high attack power, good defensive boost as well. Yeah, you take that any time of the week.
Absolutely, and I have to imagine that he's going to be unlocking some doors here in the town. Meanwhile, I think Chrono walked off from the Odin fight trying to locate some better items. Actually, it looks like he's going to go into the Baron Inn right now and do that instead.
Yeah, this is a gated shop in Baron because it is behind a key item. However, there isn't really anything good in there. You don't really want to buy a crystal armor. The weapon shop really only had a Lilith rod, which is okay, and a samurai bow, which is okay. Nothing else really that decent.
That cross opting actually to go for the Earth Crystal first rather than doing the Baron Liberation.
That's an interesting thing, because if I remember correctly, Miss Dragon was the boss that gave you the starting item. It's a character check and essentially 2 key items. While this is the Earth Crystal is 1 key item and 2 character checks.
You're going to have to go to Baron Castle anyway, so it's not like he's going to miss it. I guess we want to take a look down here in the treasury.
Not sure what else he could be looking for. Yes, maybe some little bits of armor. but you're not going to find anything better than the defense sword in chests for Cecil at this time.
Given the flags that we're working on, we're doing standard treasures, which means that basically one treasure location is as good as another. In the bracket rounds, we're going to be changing that so that more advanced locations in the game will have better treasures. And in that case, I know I've seen that the odds that the treasure having something good is very high. So, in that case, it'll be a decent idea to go down there and see what's down here. But I kind of agree with you here. It's not exactly likely you're going to find things that are a lot better.
Yeah. But then again, we say what we might do all the time. I might have done something a little bit different. I probably would have went to the Baron Baron Castle, but each player has their own routes in mind. They know they're thinking this out as it goes along. This is 2 characters, and we're looking for characters. This is not a bad play in any sense.
Not at all, none whatsoever. This could very well knock off 2 of your objectives. Meanwhile, we do see Chrono going through the Sisters fight, and that Runac Sid doing damage. And
going to pick up his Edward. There is the possibility he might use that Edward to help out with the fight against Odin on Mount Ordeal. I think he should just go for the Sid lit bolt play, but there is the Thunderstruck option.
Meanwhile, we do see Dr. Costa looting up Zod. He just did find the Flame Dog fight there. I think he got a ninja hat out the.
Not the value you're really looking for from a trap.
No. But he's going to go up there and get the first of his 2 fights here, while Chrono seems to be going back to ordeals with that Edward.
That defense sword likely is saying, get Cecil being a paladin. You really need this.
We have Asura in the first spot here in Zot.
This normally would be fairly interesting, but we've got Sid with a Runex. We're fine here.
Right. He's going to get 2 Star Rails out and get the Cure spells reflecting, and then that Runex is going to be doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, especially Berserk as Sid is now. Asura is classed as a mage. Just as the Mega Sisters was, the Runex will be doing 4 times damage. Sid is now not in an optimum position. The optimum position for having a Runex is the center spot, so it won't be doing as much damage because of low accuracy, but it's still going to be good enough.
Meanwhile, back to the Odin fight, we do still see Chrono using that Lit Bolt item with his DK Cecil, which unfortunately he's not doing the amount of damage that he needs.
Needs to get that Edward sort of hidden, but I don't think that will save him in this particular situation. The Odin attack is just about to come, or not. That Sylph?
That last Sylph just pulled it out. Sure, Chrono's very relieved to have that fight behind him.
Yeah, unfortunately we're not going to see the round the world Odin attack again, but maybe another day.
Meanwhile, Sora does go down for Dr. Cossack. Well, again, that Runex, that is just an excellent find for Sid right there.
Yeah, that has been doing a lot of work since it was found on Ordeals. It was making good work of the Mega Sisters, good work of this. There's still a couple of other bosses out there which it could do work still. So, yeah, nice find indeed.
Absolutely, and he's about to get his 2 character checks. I'm sure we're almost running out of. I was gonna say, if he doesn't find at least one of these 3 characters, you got thinking, geez, where can these people be?
Well, there's still plenty of spaces. Fu isn't one of the ones we need, but I think he's going to take him.
I would think the upgrade between an Edward and a Fusia is quite large.
That's an upgrade? I thought Edward was the be-all and end-all of everything.
Only if you're a certain person who match the Zeromus fight with him.
Well,
you do have Kane.
Kane is there. Good, considering the objectives in this particular thing. A Edward only Edward Zeromus fight could actually be the fastest way of doing. I just want to bring that out, but it's unlikely that, and it does require a lot of sort of knowledge of the way it works and a lot of concentration and 20 minutes of your time. So I don't know if we're going to see it today, but I would hazard that if Rydia and Yang come early as well as that package, the Eddie strats could be the quick and easy way to win this seed fast.
Unfortunately, I do believe that Dr. Cossack has gotten rid of Edward, so we won't be seeing that, at least on his side.
No, but the rescue flag is available still. So, always that possibility.
We can always dream. And it's just the Dark Imp fight, and we get to see what kind of spells Fusia knows already.
Stone, Meteor, there's 3 different options. And Chrono is actually making the dive into Baron Castle. So we do have a bit of divergence in where they're going. And Dr. Cossack does have a very healthy lead because of the difficulties that Chrono had against Odin. But this could bring them back onto parity.
It all depends on what you're going to find here. And remember, we do have D-Mist in Baron Castle from what we saw at the beginning of the game, so that's another key item check to be made.
I think, although it could bring them back to a bit of parity at the moment, but Cossack with that Fusia has been known as a acceleration character. If you get him early and get his spells up early, you just
Yes. And we do see Cossack, after returning to Baron from the tower, is going to go right in and take out Baron Castle. While Crown does go to the D-Mist fight.
Definitely won't be as quick as Dr. Cossack in this, because one, Fu, but the other one is that Cecil has levels, while Chrono's one doesn't at this stage. Still going to do a fair amount of damage with that defense sword, but not on the same levels as what Dr. Cossack is going to be able to put out.
Right. I don't think he's going to be able to get through this before he turns miss. I don't know if he can get through the 4,000 hit points I believe the spot has. Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack almost certainly will be able to get through it in one go.
Yeah, if there's a tier 3 spell on their virus, yeah, this is going to be fairly quick with that Fu coming along. Plus, Sylph should be doing around about 1,000 damage an hour.
Right.
I think we're going to see Dr. Cossack finish this fight quicker than Chrono will finish it right now.
Yeah, there you go. Finishing at about the same time, even though I think Crown had maybe about a 45 second to a minute head start on it. So that shows you the difference between the power of the two parties.
Yeah. The good thing for Chrono in that is Cecil gained 14 levels. That will give him a big boost in
Absolutely.
Icon on the throne though.
It's just moved slightly from vanilla.
Yeah, we could be seeing a meteor here.
Seems to be the cleanest strat here, I would guess. It's using virus instead.
Virus is okay, but Bygone likes to put up walls after any spell is used on him. So won't be able to do that a second time. If it was Meteo, that would just finish the fight straight up. It would take a while to come and bring the rocks down, but you don't really care about it because it's Meteo. Sylph does go through walls, so that's going to hit fairly well, and that should be close to the end of the fight.
It's getting there. Now, I think either got to be here or at the Mist Village now, where we finally can get Underworld access.
That is correct. Well, yes, it would, because it can't be on the Baron throne down below the Odin spot, because that is one of these places that cannot that is one of the spaces that you can't get the Underworld access from.
I think I just saw New Queen by Fusias. That's one more nice spell checked off, as well as we have Rosa there, which is not one of the people we're looking for.
No, as you said, we're getting very low on character spots now, and as those spaces get lower, you have to be thinking giant.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we have 5 places we haven't seen yet, if I count correctly.
We've got the hook, we've got the package. I don't know if anyone checked the Sand Ruby spot. We've got Dwarf Castle and Giant, so...
Right. And we have a hook, so there is our underground access.
Yeah.
As well as one of those last character checks.
Yeah, that's an extra character check. The rat tail that came from Tower of Zot can be checked now as well. So that's going to be very handy for Dr. Cossack, and to be able to just check to see if one of the items needed. Oh my word.
Oh. You get your choice.
I would go down, check that character on the hook, and then go down the Magna Key route.
Absolutely. This is the time when you're happy to have access to exit.
But it also means that there could be something gating that hook, so we could be seeing a Wyvern or a Valvalis or a Golbez down there that we're not going to be seeing anymore.
Right, there's
that just
need to go through that at this point.
Yeah, and that's just unfortunate. Chrono actually might run into that though, because hasn't gone to Earth Crystal. I don't expect him to skip it. But there was always the possibility straight to the hook route and got that going.
And in the Cave Evelyn, I'm shocked we do have both Sirens and Bacchus.
And exits.
And exits if we needed it, but we're good there for now.
Exits not going to be needed through Rosa and Cecil, but they're a nice item.
Yeah. I am kind of surprised that neither of them went into Mistville's there.
You're right. They didn't.
And this might be one of those situations. I know that when I race, this happens to me. Is that after if I go to a location with multiple bosses and the Mist Dragon is in one of the first locations, I kind of slips my mind that I beat it, and so I kind of sometimes forget that. Oh yeah, I could go and get it after completing the area.
Especially when you get a very important item as part of that chain. In this case, being the hook.
Be interested to see if they remember that later, or if they even need to check it.
It'll be interesting if they both forget that they've beaten the D-Mist, and that's the package.
Yes. So we're about to see the character down here as drcossack is, I think, wisely not checking any chests at this point and finds the duplicate Rydia.
So another one of our objectives ticked off. So that drcossack is up to 3, while Chrono is going to go and tick off his second in getting Kane on Zot, as well as that Fu, which he's going to be very happy to see.
Yes.
Bomb being the boss there, we won't see what the boss in the King-Queen spot will be, unfortunately, so could be something nasty, might not be, we won't know.
No, that will remain a mystery as drcossack exits out and will probably hit the magma key and get to the underworld.
Crono is just setting up for. Doesn't know it's there yet, but with Rosa having their elven bow, as well as Sid with a rune axe, that's doubly good against the Queen of the Summon Monster.
And it's just a protect ring in Mist Village today, so that's not what we're looking for.
Very good piece of defensive gear. Gives defense against multiple elements and a hefty amount of physical and magical defense. But exactly what you're looking for considering the objectives that are in place at the moment.
Right. Well, Chrono has climbed Tower Zot and is about to get to his Asura.
So going into the underground, where would you like to go first with this? Considering we know we don't have a plan and really anything for the underworld at this time.
I think Dwarf Castle makes the most sense because it's one of your 4 remaining character checks. It's a key item, and I certainly have it to get through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, with Fu there, with Cecil fairly well equipped now. With a Kane as well, and a Rosa that should be learning Cure 3 after the first fight here, that could be a very good option.
drcossack march that he appears to be going right now.
This is also a good check. It's a free key item. There's 2 bosses, none of which are required, but if they're easy, you can get through them and potentially 2 key item checks.
Sure. It's also a gated item shop. I mean, he's already found Sirens and Pocket Spine, so I think the only other really nice item we're looking for maybe hourglasses.
Apparently, we've got the pun police in the. I didn't know Barker had escaped the asylum again.
Guys are too much, and hourglasses there.
So we've seen all decent grinding items. We've got sirens, coffins, Bacchus wines, hourglasses. Yeah, there's nothing for this seed to really throw a curveball at right now.
The question is, do you do your grinding now, get it out of the way, maybe just crack some eggs, or do you go up to Giant and do a D machine grind because you've got food, or do you just continue to clear out the underworld as you do?
It's an interesting thing. I would say open up a few eggs, get a bit of grind under you, maybe 2 or 3, just to tie you over for the underworld here. Clear everything down here as much as you can, and then just if you find the items you need, brilliant. If not, head up to the moon and finish your grind. Find that package, and you're done.
Yeah, I would think I would want to get the dwarf castle check taken care of, trying to find that last yang, the last character check before I would consider doing a grind on the giant, because I have a feeling that if I do go to the giant, I'm going to want to finish it just to get that, see what the character is waiting for me at the end there.
Yes, definitely. If you go into the giant, you complete it. I think it should be the last check here, though. I think Dwarf Castle would be on the high priority list. I think then your grind on the moon or on the earth, and then giant would be the priority list.
Right. Do you take time out of your way to go down to the Self Cave and speak with Yang, just get the first Sheila item out of the way as well?
If the Dwarf Castle doesn't give you the pan, yes. If it does give you the pan, double yes. Would I go up Aquilus Tower? Personally, I'd try to shy away from that, but I do know that other runners like making that play.
I'm in the same boat there. I try to avoid it if at all possible, but if it makes sense, given my levels and my options at the time, then I will swallow my pride and do it.
Yeah, because that darkness crystal is available to them. My first inclination would be wait for the tower, but the tower key could be up there.
Yes. Meanwhile, Chrono has taken out the Fusia, not the king, and has gotten into his Dark Imp fight. And we have Valvalis on Dr. Cossack's side.
This is the Doll's, the Cal Cabrera's doll spot. Let's have a look at what it says. So, very high magic defense. You are not going to get through with any spells. Physical wise, very good as well. So, having Kane at this point to get Valvalis out of that spell is actually helpful.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, you're not going to get through any spells in this spot. Physical. There's 4 evasion chances, so you need at least 5 attacks to get through that, and has a fairly high physical defense as well. Thank you, Invenerable, for your reference, guys. Bahamut, though, just eats through that. Don't really care about anything else. Where did that come from?
It was the key item in Feymarch.
That would do it. And also means that Rydia is now pretty much the beast you want her to be at this stage.
Yes, and it's a Palo down here in Dwarf Castle, so that's One more check taken care of, and that's not our game.
You're hearing things, Bahamut. Sorry, we didn't call you. Don't worry. Don't worry. You can go back to back. So both characters have remembered. No, sorry, both runners have remembered Rydia's mother after the demist fight. Both picking up that protect ring. Gonna like it, but not really be ecstatic about.
No.
What Chrono is going to like, though, is what he's just about to get with that rat.
Meantime, it's the Dark Elf here in the Golbez spot.
Would have been better if Cecil had a holy sword to hit weaknesses. There was a lightsaber available in the Land of Summon Monsters, but didn't pick it up. That defense sword just doesn't hit some of the spots sometimes.
No, you always want to see one of those holy weapons for Sid, because it on so many bosses it just does so much. It still gets through without much problem.
So, what would be the item you would like to see here? Obviously the package.
Yes.
But what would we like to see?
The sand ruby, because I don't think anyone has checked that location for the character, which is actually kind of surprising considering that this has been such a character hunt.
Yeah, I would like to see just Twin Harp here. Pass? Well, we may never be going to the moon.
That is true. I mean, we might be able to fade the entire sub spots, so having that pass there rather nice. So, and we are definitely now going to go say hi to Yang in the Sylph Cave.
Yeah, it's difficult to say this isn't. You want to really open up your options right now. This and the Keyless Tower are the only options left on the. You don't really want to go to the moon if you can avoid it. Let's see if we can break open those extra places to go to.
Right. Crono is also going through the Ablin Caves, going to see the duplicate Rydia, check that off his list, and will likely exit out, while Cossack is probably going to go right to... No, he is going to go up the top.
This would be a better play to make before going down to Yard. Because
the pan here, it is a bit of a wasted effort, but
yeah. But if this was also the tower key, it's really you get. There's two chances of this being good for you.
True.
However, that Sheila 1 check could be the route forward. We don't, not yet.
No.
Chrono did buy a few exits and is making use of them. Does have the spell on Fu and Cecil, but when you've got them as an item and you've bought them, you might as well use them.
No reason why not to.
Might need that MP down the road.
And he's looking to head underground as well.
Yeah, definitely the play to be making right now. There's nothing left on the overworld. Let's keep moving forward. Or downward.
And it is a certain Dark Knight up here on Tower. and not really doing too much damage in that spot, so we'll be able to hold on without many problems.
Now, according to the handy dandy a tracker that another one that Invenable's given us, this spot can do, if I can find the Dr. Luge bit. I can. There it is. Minimum of 258, maximum of 344. Cecil and, well, Fu definitely can survive that. Cecil most likely.
And there's just some Artemis arrows here.
So, that Sheila 1 check is looking mighty tasty.
It's either that or the moon.
Or the giant.
Well, true. I'm just thinking about the next, progression. If there is, because you still need to find the package for one.
Yeah, definitely. It still needs to find key items. This is all down to people preference as well. There is still the bosses in Faymarsh. You can't forget those.
That is very true. I don't think either of them went down to the library basement to take a look and see who.
Dr. Cossack did, but I don't remember actually looking at his screen at that particular time. I believe Chrono has as well, and is grinding up some eggs to get some experience on his characters. Interesting composition that he's got for his team. Has thrown away that Rydia, kept that Cecil, he kept that Sid instead of Kane, and also kept Porum.
It does seem like a lot of white magic on that part.
Yeah, definitely lots of sources of Berserk and everything. And is this even moderately shuffled?
It's a vanilla pan. Vanilla pan, that sounds good.
This grind sort of tells me he's just preparing himself for either jumping into Dwarf Castle or going back into Faymarsh to take on those bosses. One of those two. I don't see him going up to the tower with this on his thinking right now, but I've been wrong before.
And now we have the pan. It makes perfect sense to go right back down to self. See if we can get anything interesting from these 2 key item checks.
I'm very happy to see that. Likely would have been more happy to see it at the top of the tower, so he didn't have to make this very long trip. But he'll be happy that he's just getting it out of the way with and didn't waste his time looking for it elsewhere.
Absolutely.
So Chrono is going into Dwarf Castle next, while Dr. Cossack is given a sand ruby.
It's a sand ruby. We're down to 3 character locations now, and that's one of them. So I have to imagine he's going to see who's sleeping in the bed today.
This guy, I don't believe anyone has, but Dr. Cossack is heading there right now, so we're just about to find out. Chrono is going to have a little bit more of a difficult time with this Valvulis fight. Does not have Kane, but does have a few extra levels, so Cecil should get through the defenses that Valvulis puts up. That's young.
And
we just need a package.
We've been looking for. So now it's just a case of trying to find that pack. Unfortunately, it could be in any number of places.
So so that's Giant out of the way.
Yes.
Giant is not required at this point in time. So let's think about where we got left for key item checks. we've got the bosses in Famosh. We've got the 5 checks on... sorry. Is it 5? Sorry, the 6 checks on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the potential of the of a chain into the Twin Harp. And the tower key itself. We've also got the Luke key.
And we have Cave Bahamut as well.
Yeah, I counted that in the bosses on the moon, or the checks on the moon, but yeah, that is one of them. I think that's it. So we've got, that's what, 10, 11 spots left?
So the question now becomes, where to first? Could just be, obviously first, I think you really need to turn the pan back in. After that, it's a case of, do you start clearing out the moon? I guess that's all you have right at the moment there.
Yeah. Item density would be moon next.
Right.
Mostly because there's actually nothing left on the Earth except the Famosh. We've also got the Odin spot.
True. I would think it'd be one of those situations where if you felt like you were behind at this point in the seed, you might opted to clear out the Fey March and the Odin spot before going to the moon, on the theory that your opponent probably went to the moon first. But at this time, and given the way the seed is played out, I don't think Dr. Cross is feeling that way. He's going to the moon right now without returning the pan.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as well. And it's been stated by a number of people, don't forget your freebies. But this is also a case where, oh, I've picked up an item I needed, I've picked up the Sand Ruby, that's given me another objective, let's go and get that, and it's probably skipped his mind that he needs to go hand in the pan as well.
To be fair, the odds are fairly good that the package is somewhere on the basis of number of key item checks to be made here. But if it does wind up that Shield has been holding the package this entire time, he's going to feel slightly foolish.
Yeah, it's never the thing that you forget until it is.
Absolutely. Crono has got his way through Valvalis.
So, very nice.
Dark Elf next, I believe, if I remember correctly.
It was indeed, yeah. And this should not be too hard in the slightest. Fu should make quick work of this. Cecil will do fairly well. So, yeah, this should be fairly quick.
Dr. Cossack did choose to take that Yang instead of keeping his ready around, and I think he's going to be looking to slingshot him on the moon pretty quickly.
Yang is a very good target to slingshot. He gets all his attack power and always basically everything from his levels. So getting him up to pretty much an instant level 40, 45, he'll start dishing out the damage very quickly after that. And we have already found those sirens. Do we have 10 key items on Dr. Cossack? We have...
Just 8, I believe.
8. Yes. So we're only going to get the normal amount. So we're only going to get the 90,000 experience from a pair of golden dragons. This isn't going to be the slingshot he's going to want. But it's not going to be bad either. Everyone, Cecil's going to get a lot of levels. You want that. Kane's going to get a lot of levels. He needs some. Rosa needs that HP for the final fight anyway. Yang is the bonus.
I believe he's only in like the mid-30s right now, so I think even before he would really comfortably take on all the bosses on the anyway, all of his characters, like Fusia, would need some extra experience.
was aiming for a couple of extra life potions and for extra experience on that, up with queuing up that power attack on Yang. Didn't quite time them correctly then, though, so only got the single life potion.
It's still 90,000 experience points, which looks a good, looks like 6 levels to everyone except for Yang. That's up to level 30.
Still needs a bit more. Also puts him on parity, so he's not going to get any more slingshots, so he's going to be leveling up at the same rate as everyone else.
In the meantime, we see Crono has finished his dwarf castle and also approaching the Achilles Tower.
These two have been very mirrored in their moves. The only slight difference is that Crono did a bit of extra grinding before going to Dwarf Cup. So this has been a battle of really execute, and drcossack has just executed that little bit better.
That is true. One thing I do want to point out is that Crono did not go down to see Yang in Sylph Cave, so he's doing the slightly a better play of checking to see if the pan is here first, even though we know the pan is vanilla on this.
drcossack has done his little bit of a mini grind, level 35 on everyone, apart from food. I probably wouldn't have done this, got into these fights until level 40, but I'm very safe in my fights on the moon. I'd rather not go into them too underleveled. Other people have...
Yeah, I'm the same way. I always, at least personally, it sometimes costs me some time. It is the evil wall in this location.
Especially with a fight like this. Evil wall is nasty. His punches in this spot are going to do a fair amount of damage, around 800 to 1,000 on the front row. And Rose, who I don't think has got too decent gear, took a bit of a beating.
This was, I believe he went to the ribbon location, so this is about 40-odd thousand hit points. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, and those blinks are definitely going to be helpful. But you need to get them up quick, otherwise you're not going to be really surviving this for too long. Crono has got through the Dark Knight fight with everyone up and raring to go, so he's going to be happy about that, and then promptly sad when he gets Artemis arrows.
And taking a long walk back downwards.
Would have definitely been a good candidate for a quick reset out of that once you saw the Artemis arrows.
I agree. Meanwhile, I mean, drcossack does seem to be managing the evil wall fight pretty well. It does look like at the current rate he is going to be able to get it down before it crushes him.
Yeah, those blinks and the berserk characters, this is really the optimum way to get through the evil wall fight. Just make sure he can't hit you. You're hitting him constantly for the 1,500 damage, and you'll be fine.
I suppose it is good. I believe this spot is one of the slowest of the bosses on the.
I'm not too certain on the agility bit, but it would make sense since in vanilla this is to 2D lunars, while everything else was a single enemy.
You want to see Chrono back to the grind, clearing out a few more eggs. Wonder if he's thinking about the Fade March bosses at this point.
Definitely got to be on his mind. I don't think he's going to forget about Sheila 1, but I don't think it's as high a priority as the Feymarsh bosses or the Moon, because he'd like to see the pan before doing checks. As we know, Sheila 1 has the pan, so this isn't going to turn out well. But he doesn't know that.
It's always easy when you know where everything is.
Yeah, we've got the comfy seats. We are seeing what is happening on both sides. These runners have got none of our knowledge that we are seeing. They are doing it just as basic by the seat of their own pants and seeing what turns out in front of them.
That's a fairly nice take from the ribbon chest. You've got the Excalibur, which is very nice to see, as well as a Tower King.
Yeah, Excalibur straight onto Cecil. That defense swapping out for the Gungnir on Kane. Always nice to see some improvements in weapons and armor. The Tower Key, I wouldn't go down to check that. I'd stay on the Moon, because because you've got more checks that are still on the Moon than you've got on the blue planet.
We got CPU in this spot that he immediately resets out of.
Difficult to. CPU is never a difficult fight. It's just long-winded.
Right.
Chrono running rings around the king and queen and summon monster spots, trying to do a dance to avoid Wyvern, and then promptly walks into him.
You're going to need a little bit more than just fancy footwork to get away from a mega nuke. Cossack, on the other hand, is saying that's enough of the Moon for me. That's I am surprised to see that.
We've already seen Waterhag as well, so this is the Gauntlet. This is not a very nice Feymarsh. He's just remembered he's got the pan to hand in.
Ah, yes, he does.
I think he might have been looking through his inventory and seen that and went, oops.
I suppose you might consider a Feymarsh Gauntlet a good Gauntlet, if only because you might not need to do it.
drcossack actually did the correct play beforehand in give back the pan, because a gold apple is not what you want to see.
This is one of those situations where you wish you had kept a separate save on the Moon, so you can just immediately reset, go back to the Moon location, and start grinding those bosses again.
I believe he's got a save up there, so if the tower doesn't play out, he very well may reset back to that.
I hope you're right.
Then fighting the hardest bosses in the game, which are the NPCs.
So it'd be so much easier. You could just take out a sword and take care of NPCs, I must say. Crono is opting to go through with the Gauntlet in Feymarch.
This isn't bad as a Gauntlet. There are worse places. Can give you a fair amount of experience, and because of the location, there's always the opportunity for the fabled clapper grind. We're not going to, but I think he's just saying, I need to check this, I need to be sure. Or if this gives me what I want, brilliant. If not, I'll just have to play that.
Right. In the meantime, Cossack is going to go up and take a cannon in the tower. This is a very, very quick check, so it makes sense if you're already down here to just run down here and take a look.
Yeah. The question will be, will he reset after that, or will he to go back to the moon, or will he follow Chrono down into the land of some monsters for that for these bosses down here?
True.
Mylon and the Ghast in the cannon room. Not really a bad fight here. So, well, wow, young. I have not seen a kick do that much in a long time.
That's impressive.
I know that spot isn't difficult or strong, but that a kick, probably the weakest physical attack in the game.
I'm guessing that spot must have almost no defenses then.
Or very little. Two clappers as for Chrono. This is the last fight in the alternate gauntlet in this particular spot, so we will be able to see what the key item is after this.
If this turns out to be the package, this would be quite a coup.
Yeah, then all he would need to do is Sheila 1.
Yes.
To get Sheila 2, to get the Sand Ruby, then he's in go. Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack is showing us the item.
Well then.
Dr. Cossack has just gone into go mode instead. So we now know that the ribbon spot on the moon is required. You need to get through that area.
That is quite impressive to go there, have that be, you just do the one boss, do the ribbons, grab the progression item that you need to take it back down to the underworld and get the package. I'm sure he's feeling very happy because he has skipped a lot of what I would consider to be obvious checks before getting there.
Yeah, and I would have made the incorrect play. I would have stayed on the moon, checked the spots up there. I would have been back down very, very late.
Absolutely. I would have full cleared the moon before thinking about doing the tower key.
Chrono looks like he's going to the moon, so he's heading the correct direction for the tower key to get that package, but he still needs that Sand Ruby. No, he's going to the giant.
Well, he has not taken a look into Kaipo to see that Yang is sleeping in the bed, so he might be thinking that that's where he's located.
Yeah, if he doesn't have that knowledge, he's still looking. Tell her. I don't think we're going to pick him up and then promptly take him with us to Zeromus, unconscious.
He would make a very good agility anchor if you were so.
Yeah, but you don't actually need to go and let him rest because you've got your crystal. So now the question is, grind. How much of a grind do you do? Cecil is around level 46. 46, if I'm correct with his amount of hit points on him at the moment. That is enough for Zeromus. My issue would be Rose.
Absolutely, she's only got 1700 against a bad roll on a Big Bang. She would be unconscious very quickly. So in this position, I would want probably 5 or 6 levels at the very least.
Yeah. Since Cecil is at around level 46, he is at that 29 agility mark, which is enough to put Zeromus to relative 2. So it would be okay in a Berserk Strat situation for that. I don't think I would want Cecil getting too many more levels. Let Yang and Kane have a few while getting Rosa's hit points up. But Dr. Cossack thinks he's ready and is underway to Zeromus right now.
Right. Meanwhile, Chrono is going to be completing the giant, or at least attempting to, with a pale dim at the elements.
Yeah. But that does mean that Zeromus, we don't want him anywhere else, so we'd make a few different changes to him. We change him up in slightly different ways. We change his appearance. So, Twisted Flags, would you do the honors?
Absolutely. I'm seeing those flags in chat, which means it's only time for one question. Whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Always the question you want to ask as quickly as possible in one of these seats, because we are in a race situation. So fly those banners in the air. Zeromus, who you are? We actually care. Please show us your true color.
And tonight we have Amos.
Kaimus. Yes. The antagonist of Final Fantasy 13-2.
I swear I never recognize these when I'm on stream, but I always recognize them when I'm just watching. Thank you.
Yeah. He's not only a recurring villain in that particular game, but he's also a recurring villain in this Thief Sprite. I think I've seen him more often than any other Thief Sprite in these races. That's in total over the course of my time.
Here comes that first Big Bang, and since it was nerfed with the nuke, should be no problem healing up from that. I wonder if he's going to try to time out the rest of these Big Bangs with nukes from Fusia.
Possible. With Rosa being so low health, I think he needs to do that. Fu should be able to survive most Big Bangs, only the really high ones he's got a risk against. But I don't see there being too much issue.
No, not with 3 strong frontline fighters, all berserk now.
Cecil with that scale, Kane with the defense sword, Yang with his pure strength. This shouldn't be too much of an issue. All should be hidden around about 2,000 and damage, with Cecil doing 3,000 or so.
No, at this point, the only thing that can really stop you is just a bad Big Bang roll, or maybe a Big Bang into a medium.
Did try to nerf with that slow. Is it going to be enough? No.
No. Rosa hangs on just a little bit. I don't know if there's going to be enough time to keep her up.
Now, that could have been because of 2 different things. Either the nerf wasn't correctly timed. There is only a very small time frame for that to actually take effect, or Zeromus changed phases, and because of that, his attack, his spell power went back to maximum, and that's the reason why there was a full-powered Big Bang.
We see a saving Rosa with a mere 4 hit points. Very, very close to a slight issue had with this fight there, but now I'll just have to reapply the Berserks after the Black Hole.
Yeah, with these spells coming out and possibly a Bacchus Wine or two, the damage will keep coming, the hits will keep on coming.
It's just a matter of time at this point, yes.
Yeah, Zeromus shouldn't be too long for this world. Chrono is still working his way through that Paladin fight. I'm not actually sure which of these is longer, the Zeromus fight or the element spot. Considering in the amount of damage output that Chrono has, it's not really comparable to what Dr. Cossack had.
No, that is completely true.
So, another Cure 4 coming out from Rose, just topping up that hit points just before the Big Bang. Again, another Big Bang that was full power. I think we're going to see a Meteor.
Yeah, it's the Cure 4 off in time, though.
With that Cure 4, if Meteor does come, which is around about a maximum of 1,100 damage at this point, everyone's going to be okay. So, yeah, this fight should be very much over with. That is a black hole, though.
That is annoying. You would think that he'd be closer to his third phase at this point, but that's not the case yet. And that Fu is running a little light on MP.
Does have enough for another Berserk, though, and since we're pretty certain this is getting too close to the end of the fight, it doesn't need too much more.
Chrono has finished his way through the Pale Dim fight and is going to be going to spot. Find Plague for his troubles.
Considering this is one of the hardest hitting spots in the game, Plague isn't that bad here.
Absolutely not.
But it also is also a very fast spot, so you're going to have some issues, especially with how his party composition at this time.
Throw the elixir on food to get him back up to full MP. And there are our rocks. And GG, Dr. Cossack, winning tonight's race. I have an official time for you in just a moment. But yeah, get your GGs on chat. The official time, 1 hour, 32 minutes even.
I do like it when I see a 0-0 at the end there. And I do believe we have now been joined by the victor of our race today, Dr. Cossack. Well, very well done.
GG.
I believe he might have a few issues with his mic. He should be back in just a moment, though.
In the meantime, I must say that is a very, very strong race part. I think he made some very good decisions and got through what could have been a very tricky seed very quickly.
Yeah. This isn't character check. Character searches aren't as bad as boss spots because there's not as many to go through, but you still could find these long chains that leads you to the character you need.
Right. We do see Crono still working through Plague. It looks like we haven't joined by Dr. Cossack again. Is your mic up and running now? Looks like we're still working on that.
You guys hear me?
Oh, there
now
you go.
we can, yes. Excellent. Just needed a reset of that mic in Discord, did you?
I can't hear anything.
I think. There, we hear you now.
I don't think he hears us yet, though.
Oh.
So we'll just give him a moment. Hopefully he'll be able to hear us in a moment soon.
Meanwhile, it looks like Crown had to take a reset on that the Plague fight.
Is still going through a little bit. Not too sure if he's got any issues with this. Is trying to just off the characters to pick them back up to reset that timer. With it going so fast, though, counting down could be a difficult proposition.
It's one of those situations where it all relies of getting the lives back up. So if you can get that timing down, then it's a fairly simple fight, but that's always a trick. Is he does opt to reflect the count back, see if that strat's going to work.
Yeah. I think he was trying to get the reflect off before the count, but it just didn't quite match up.
No.
Is this working now?
Okay. Hello, Dr. Cossack. Do you hear us?
Myself through the screen.
Yeah. Do you hear us now?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, I do.
So very well done for winning the race today. You're now 2-1. How did that feel to you doing that today? It was pretty much a character check all the way through.
Yeah. I was looking for some cat claws for Yang. My DPS was a bit low.
Well, did you really need it with Excalibur Settle and Defense Sword Kane in the end?
No, but I wanted to get done a little faster.
Well, we have to ask you about that the play you made where you found the tower planet. That was the moon for you. What were you thinking about during that time?
What was that?
Oh, I just wanted to know about the play you made on the moon after you found the tower key at the ribbon spot, and you immediately went down and checked it out. So I wanted to know what you were thinking at that time.
Oh, I didn't want to sit through any more bosses like CPU. It'd take too long.
That's perfectly fair.
Absolutely.
we also noticed that you checked that pan and on the way down as well. Did you just forget about that after picking up that sand ruby? Or was that calculated to check it afterward?
Yeah. Well, then I thought there would be more key items on the moon. I was wrong.
Well, we only saw though in that one spot that you checked with the ribbon room. So that one spot was the tower key, which was what you needed. So you didn't really need to check too much more.
Yep. And Excalibur helped.
Absolutely. So now that you're 2-1, you're one step closer to that the magical 3-2 mark, or even better at this point. See you through to the brackets phase. How do you feel about your chances?
Pretty good. We'll see what happens in the next 2 weeks.
There are a lot of scary opponents in that bracket, so anyone you really want to actually come up against, if you've had a look at the potential people?
There's a few, but I'll worry about that when I get there.
Yeah. Worry about your opponent when your opponent had actually is put on the paper, I would get. Do you have any last words about the seed before we let you go and probably have a bit of a rest?
Oh, thanks for having me.
No problem. Very, very well done on your win, and we will see you likely in some of the later rounds.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, Chrono is continuing on Plague and found Edge and said no thank you to Edge, and now is going down and checking the Odin spot and finding Leviathan.
Is really adamant about keeping that.
It's one of those things where if you get it in mindset, I don't want to go there until I find the pan. You could be fading that location for a long time.
Yeah, it's not finding that pan and just continuing on is pretty much a staple of where things can and do go wrong. With that pan being in its vanilla location, even you're going to leave it for a long while.
It could be a situation where if you're thinking about it in terms of almost game strategy, if you think that, well, if my opponent went there, was going to go there early, so I should leave it for late, because if he found it, then he would have won.
Yeah. Chrono, having seen the dot done at this point, is probably thinking, where did my opponent go where I haven't? And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the moon very shortly. However,
he is going back underground and looking to be making that Sheila 1 play now.
Which is the correct play. So might be just thinking, I don't want to go back to the moon. And I've checked the giant. That's it. That's been enough for that. Let's clear everything on the blue planet first before I even think about the moon.
Well, yes, but he will have to think about the moon at some point, since we know that Ribbon Spot is holding the tower key, which is holding the package.
Yeah. And luckily for him, this is the last check he's got not to make on the Earth, unless he's willing to try and get through Wyvern.
I would think that even if you are of the mindset where you don't want to go to the moon until absolutely necessary, even that spot will be just too much for most people.
Yep. I would honestly not touch that with a very, very, very long barge. Mostly because Mega Nuke is ranged.
And yes, just got the bad news that the pan was where it was all the time. Sheila.
And he's just about to pick up that Sand Ruby. He's probably going to be very happy to see that because character check. And
Right.
He's going to be even more happier to see that it's young there. He's not going to be happy with other item from Sheila, but one more objective down.
I mean, at this point, he knows he still needs. I mean, he doesn't even know where to be. Although at this point, it's either the package character or the Sand Ruby character, since he's checked the giant. So I think he knows that once he sees the Sand Ruby, he's got to check it.
Yeah, and I think we've gone through every single character check in this particular seed. Not really surprising, considering it's a character hunt. But I think we've gone through every possible check between the two runners.
I believe that is accurate. We've seen everybody.
And there's the sand.
Not a moment too soon.
So Chrono's going to go and likely check that immediately, and then off to the moon.
Well, I am pretty sure that his levels are fairly good right now. That was his 10th key item, so he's getting double experience from here on out.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to need any more grind since he has done the giant, though, and the giant is, 250,000 experience between the two spots?
It's somewhere in that range, yes, so...
There's the delicious fruit that Chrono has just picked up, so 100 HP for anyone if you want that. Actually, that could be good for Porum.
Right. Porum is a little low on HP for her biggest weakness. But at this point, it's pretty much going to go to the moon after picking up your young.
Yeah. The question then is, how long does Chrono stay on the moon? Does he pick up that tower key as one of the first checks and then uses that to just go and get that package? Or does he check everything on the moon?
It's a question of whether or not you feel like leaving a save on the moon and then coming back down and checking it, and then if it doesn't be the case, just go back to the moon, or you just feel like I'm on the moon, I'm in that mindset, I just want to clear out everything and then we'll deal with what I find.
Yeah. From the way he's played this seed so far, it's been systematic. I'm going to clear everything I can on the Earth. I'm now going to the moon. I don't see that sort of strategy changing. It's going to be, I'm going to clear everything on the moon, then I'll pick up everything that's left on the Earth.
That's true, and that could lead to some problems because if he finds the twin harp or if he finds the Luga key, that gives more checks to do and more potential blind alleys once he finishes clearing up the moon.
Yeah. The only benefit that this could be is that he finds the twin harp and gives us music.
Well, that would always be nice. We always look forward to hearing that.
Yeah. But of the 6 spots, door number 1, we know it's not going to be the right one.
I know some people like to leave this one for last and do the checks inside the subterranean first. Do you have a preference?
Personally, I like to go down the bottom and work my way up with doing this last. Mostly because there's more checks down the bottom in the more closely dense location. It is stopping to do a little bit of a grind as well, though. That's a little bit. Dr. Lugay isn't tough.
Not really, no. But still, I mean, I do see poor him only has 20 hit points. Maybe feels need to get a little more, a few more levels on forward.
Well,
double getting the 180.
There's 9. I'm not 100% certain, but I think Porum was 5 levels below everyone else somehow, and just got slingshotted a little bit.
I think I just saw she's at level 50 now. Which...
Yeah, she needs level 48 to get Secure Force. And since she got 9 levels in that, while everyone else got, I think, 3, that definitely sort of tells me of a little mini slingshot there. Huh. Wonder if that was planned. Probably not. Probably just missed out on the experience from that plague fight at the end of it.
True.
Because that would have been 150,000 experience missed out, which is comparable to one of these one of these King Ryu fights.
That's level 52 on Porum, which gets white. Still decides to do a little more grinding.
Not sure what else she could. What else he could want from a grind here. Rose has got more than enough hit points to survive now. You don't really need Pawn to have that much.
Plus, you think you're going to have to fight a few more bosses on your way here. You're probably going to get a couple levels of experience just as you go.
Yeah. This might be where some inexperience in the game is coming in. I believe Chrono is fairly new to this. I haven't heard of his name in recent time, in longer than recent times, so might not be thinking in the long term with
Sure.
what's left.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this is a very complex game with a lot of different things that could. So, I mean, just be able to play at this at a level at this level shows a lot of talent.
Yeah, most certainly. It's. I'm seeing this through sort of an experience and situation, and I don't know why I'm doing that, because I'm not the best at this game, even though I'm experienced. It's just I'm seeing this from the outside looking in. I'm just seeing there's a more optimum way of doing it.
It's one of those things that definitely comes with time and experience.
Yeah. You've got to. Everyone's got to get through these tough spots, especially in the start of their sort of time as in this game. I've had plenty of rough times when I started up. I was over leveling for everything. I was making too many treasure checks. I was making silly mistakes on bosses. Strangely enough, always the most consistent boss that I ever fought against was Zeromus. And actually, that's still the case. But that's not really a surprise when Zeromus is fairly static. We know a whole lot about him and his scripts. Different where the randomization takes place with the bosses is a little bit more tricky to actually get a grip on it.
No, that is absolutely true. I mean, game sort of an end goal if you want to get to throws with a certain kind of party configuration, and because of that, at least for me, it's always like a very consistent fight at the end, because it's always the same stats, always the same strategies, or very slightly different strategies. Whereas just finding bosses that could be anywhere in the game, you have to be able to take care of them in any party configuration, in difficult, high spell power, high attack power locations, and fast locations. There's just so many different configurations of this game that you have to be able to take care of on the fly.
Yeah. One of my old grievances, I would say, is J spells being available. This is going quite a bit back before a long time, but having Rydia in your party and then trying get grinding on eggs with not 10 key items to get to level 55. Yeah, I don't do that anymore.
No.
But
we've had like quality of life improvements since then.
Yeah, but that's sort of what I mean in those little optimization plays where you really shouldn't be doing that. But they're habits that you need to break. And you don't do that without experience, and Chrono is probably going through sticking with the seed to get that experience, get those bosses in these locations. See how well he does with this seed.
Yes, every race, every seed he plays is a learning opportunity, and if you don't take something away new from the seed, then you'll be a much better player than I am.
So heading down into this, is this going to be going to find CPU? So going to have a little bit of another roadblock here before finding the correct item. Did pick up that twin heart from the Dr. Luge fight, so everyone is still hoping that he makes that little detour to go and check that before the tower.
Right, it wouldn't be in his best interest, but it'd be in all of our best interests. That's what we all hope for.
And at this point, he knows that and if he's been checking the SOL, he should know that it's all over and done with. So he might just do it just for us. And then he'll be the second winner of this.
Well, he decides that CPU's too much for him, so he's going to walk over to the ribbon location, which is where he needs to go.
Yeah. Evil Wall, He's not going to like the look of this particular boss, but I think he just tried to berserk food.
Or just resets. I'm guessing he berserked the wrong person.
Yeah, I think he put berserk on Fu there, and that is definitely a very good cause to reset.
It's one of those things where thankfully you're misspending it early in the battle. Don't feel too bad about it.
Even berserking those, that's definitely a good option. Just get through these hit points as soon as possible. Oh, Porum and Fu can bring the blinks and keep them up fairly consistently, just to Evil Wolf isn't going to get through the amount of hit points that he's got on his team for at least 2 hits.
No, he is definitely has more levels and more when drcossack hit this location, so I would imagine it's be a manageable fight at this.
Yeah, and he's also going to be happy when with the Excalibur, as Chat is pointing out, how Cecil's been rocking that defense sword. It's a good weapon. Excalibur, though, you don't take that out.
Except for a crystal sword.
Also reflecting white with Porum. That is a very, very good way of getting through this amount of hit points quick and avoiding the petrify counters.
That is a good heads-up play on his part.
Porum's got enough will behind her at this point where these whites are doing 8,000 damage. That's a very significant chunk.
I think we said this spot is about 42,000 hit points, so I'm just rolling right through it.
Yeah. Definitely got through it quicker than drcossack did. Unfortunately, it's just later on in this in the time.
There is your Excalibur and the Tower Key, which is the progression that he needs. But again, given how deliberate he's been during the scene, you would imagine he's going to probably just full clear the moon before cashing that in.
Yeah. I'm not too certain if he's going to go back to that CPU spot. He might just think that's a little bit too long-winded. He's got to think that with how quickly that drcossack got through this, that it's going to be up on this move, though. So
probably, if he is metagaming, he's probably thinking, he probably to grind through that CPU fight given that time.
So we might see him check and go through this one and maybe check the Ogo Pogo spot to see if it's free. But then we'll go down to the Earth and skip on the CPU.
Yes, that if I had to guess, I think that is what he's doing. He probably wouldn't want to do the CPU unless he felt like he absolutely had to at this point. And we do have Ogo in the Wyvern spots.
Definitely definitely a difficult spot for Ogo. This isn't too high on hit points, but the attack power is fairly high, and Ogo does like to hit you. And those waves you can't defend, and will do each one will do 25% of your or maximum HP.
But that Excalibur Sea Soul is definitely carrying the party at this point. 5,000 damage right there, and clearing it.
Spoon. Not what he's looking for.
definitely not. I suppose the good news is that if he does find the Luca key, he's got all the remaining progression items, but he's just getting out of the subterranean right now. Probably gonna head back in for the Murasame spot.
Yeah, the Peldim,
Yes.
vanilla Peldim spot. Didn't go down to the Ogopogo spot, the Mazamune altar. So I think he's just going to skip on that and say, "I'll check this one. I've got two checks on the earth after that. I think that will be it. If one of them is right, brilliant. If not, I'll just have to do whatever."
Right.
But we're still hoping that he checks the Twin Heart before the Tower Key.
He would be the champion of the people next.
So what do we have here? I think we've still got a few difficult ones. Rubicante isn't too bad. I think these fire counters aren't going to be that bad. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's nothing. Pickles.
Yeah, just let the berserks fly and finish this fight up fairly well. The glare didn't even phase Cecil. No,
this spot is the most hit points to begin with, so
that ice free though that's coming from Fu is going to heal Rubicante though.
It's a good idea, but unfortunately getting the timing is very difficult in these bosses, so it's usually just best I can just use a nuke and just say I know you're weak against ice sometimes, I'm just not going to bother.
There is the chance though that it actually is good because Rubicante has done that punch, so he might open the cape just in time for this. Wow. He actually did.
Brilliant play.
Yep. Perfect timing. We can't say anything else about just perfect timing.
Absolutely.
Even hits the threshold. Yeah, even hits the threshold for the speech.
That is some precise damage there.
Rubicante, the gentleman of the elements.
And it's not quite vanilla, but it's close.
It's close enough. Now, where is he going to go next? He's walking out. So is he going to go down to the Mazamune now? Let's see. Maybe it's time to take on CPU. That's I think the two last places to check. Yeah, he's heading in that direction. From a viewer's point of view, it's like we're sort of mentally saying to him, go to the earth, that's where you need to be. He doesn't know any of this.
In his mind, he's thinking, oh, I didn't check the last altar on the moon here. Maybe that's where the package is, and then just immediately get into go mode. So it's one check is as good as enough, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and sometimes this is just this is what just bites you. You don't know where things are. You've got to check each and every one, and you're looking at the time tick and tick and each check giving you the item you're not looking for again and again. I've been in this situation. It's frustrating.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where you, especially in a situation like this, there were so many choices that were open to you, and you're just thinking, did I make the one? And it starts weighing on you after a while.
It does. And you, at this point, he's got to just look at this and say, so I didn't get the correct ones this time. Next time might be a different story. It's how you pick yourself up after this, which will be the true test.
Absolutely. 90% of the Fabul Gauntlet is half, I believe the saying goes.
No, half of the Fabul Gauntlet is actually trying to not fight it in an unideal situation, and being aware of what the enemies you're going to fight.
Can't say fairer than that.
I'm pretty sure you mean about the boss fight, not the actual tournament.
Well, I was talking about the tournament, just trying to remember that, okay, even if this that get me down, I still have the chance to keep going on, still have the chance to win out and still qualify. So I just can't say that, you know, you have to draw a fine line. This is over, this is what's happened, let's move on.
Oh, tournament mental force.
Yes.
For some reason, my mind skipped to the actual boss fight. We've already seen it. It's not that bad in the seed.
Meanwhile, Octomammoth is going down fairly quickly, as you might expect, given these the power that Crono's bringing to the fight.
You don't want to do white.
Don't do the
Yeah.
At the very least, it doesn't regrow tentacles.
Yeah, Ultimam absorbs Holy, as you've just seen.
Yes.
For some reason.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Yeah, for some reason, quite a few bosses at the start of the game absorb Holy. No idea why they put that in.
It's one of those things when you're playing it vanilla that you just don't have any holy weapons, right? And so you never really think about it until you're in a situation like this, where like, oh, I can cast white on it and get a very nasty surprise.
Yeah, Ultima Demist. I believe Mumbomb is resistant to Holy as well. It doesn't absorb, but is resistant. The second half of Dark is weak against holy weapons, but actually absorbs a holy spell. He's an odd one.
How does that work?
The way I think it is actually because Night Swords are their own category. And because of that, there are certain enemies that are weak to that, but aren't weak to Holy. I believe Zeromus is one of them. I believe Zeromus is weak against Night Swords, which is why you see the Crystal Sword, the Excalibur, and the Lightsaber do so much damage compared to any other weapon. But is not weak against Holy damage.
There you go. That's something I learned today.
Yeah. I'm not completely certain if my theory is sound. Simbu would likely be able to correct me, and I would be happily corrected if I am wrong. But I believe that is the situation with it.
Meanwhile, Crono has escaped the bounds of the moon, leaving CPU behind, and guess what? It looks like we're going to be getting the music.
Can we all just put our free harps into the chat right now and thank Crono greatly, because he is doing exactly what the people want. So we're going to be quiet for a bit. You've heard enough of us over the last 2 hours and a quarter. Let's get something that's actually pleasing on the ears to listen to. Well, apart from Twisted Facts, my voice you don't want to hear at all.
I think they're probably getting tired of my voice as well. I agree. Let's let the music play a little.
Yeah. And as was just so, the Dawn Warriors from Final Fantasy V. And we're fighting some of their offshoots. Definitely didn't live up to the name of the Dawn of the Warriors of Dawn. These two.
Now taking care of those right quick as you might expect, given how powerful.
And his reward, the Legend Sword. So there is an Excalibur available. He doesn't need that.
So he doesn't have a Sid to throw it, or doesn't have a second Cecil this time. So yeah, it's going to sit in the inventory there.
Yeah. Checking his tracker on the menu. One of the nice quality of life additions that Boardface has made to this randomizer. You can check to see what key items are available. The ones in yellow have not been used. He's looking at the tower key. He's checking it again. He now knows where he's. I fully expect that to be his next destination.
Considering the fact that the choices otherwise would be Wyvern, Fey March, or CPU on the moon, I would think a tower cannon check would be the easy play at this moment.
Yeah. And the only other key item outside of the package is the Luca key. He's probably thinking, if I just get a key item here, no matter which one, it could just lead to the package. He's going to be really happy to see that this choice is the correct one.
Absolutely. And as we said, this boss location practically no hit points, even in its advanced levels. This should be very, very quick.
one quick. If he's got the J item, do that. If not, just let Cecil handle it. Heck, even let Porum get a few hits in.
And yeah, quick cleaning up the remnants of this fight. And as soon as he walks out of this tower, he's going to be very, very... The end will be in sight.
Yeah. So all that would remain after this is the Zeromus fight itself. I don't see him having too much issue with it, for some reason.
I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be choosing a kind of a hybrid strategy, collecting whites back onto Z while the frontline fighters are berserked. And given the strength that he's got, I can't see Zeromus putting up too much of a fight.
Yeah. And that's even with a Sid at this stage. Not the ideal person you would want to take as a damage dealer into the Zeromus fight. He's had plenty of other options, but decided Sid is the one for me.
Sid has a lot of hit points. The problem with him is that he doesn't really have much in the way of, or really anything in the way of late game items, so it's always tough to get some damage done with him, but he should have no problems.
Yeah. He has some fairly strong weapons with the Ogre Axe and the Rune Axe. They have a fairly high amount of damage, potential damage output. However, their accuracy sort of lack. So you're going to be neutering it a little bit that way, and he never really gains a whole lot of strength for being such a burly person.
Normally, when you see Sid at the Zeromus fight, he's usually holding a cursed ring and serving as the agility anchor, so doesn't gain much in the way of agility. Right.
Yeah, he doesn't gain a whole lot of agility either, which is extra damage multipliers. Normally you see him in either that cursed roll or a cursed anchor roll, or holding all the potions to throw them at other people in your party. This time he's going to be one of the damage output, which will be very nice to see. You don't see it all.
No. And yeah, he's been putting out some decent damage. See, let's not say it's going to be terrible. It's going to be quite fine.
No, he's going to be at this stage of the thing. He's going to be comparable to Kane and a lower level yarn, around about level 45 to 50. It's just, you don't see it sometimes. It's just the thing. You just don't see it, and without that, it's just okay. So what's happening next?
Right. What's happening is he's going to get some silk webs to help throw out, to help.
Yeah. I think we had a seed, only seed a few months back, where I asked Simbu what the super secret strategy was for getting Sid through a seed with just him. And the only answer we had was hit people, hit your enemies with a hammer or an axe.
Well, when you have Sid in the endgame, it's not much else.
When you have a Sid during the entire game, there's not much else you can do.
We have 5 Sids.
Of course, this isn't the case here. He's going into this with an Excalibur Cecil. We're going to still see good numbers coming out of his team here. He's got plenty of Berserk, plenty of white mage options for Berserk. So Cecil is going to be constantly angry. Same with Sid. Fu's going to do a few nukes. We're likely going to see a few whites from Porum. Rosa's the enigma, I would actually say. Is Rosa going to be casting white or berserked with that bow and arrow?
Well, I don't think he's used all the Artemis arrows. Possibility where he just he goes with 3 damage dealers, straight damage dealers instead of just 2. It'll be interesting to see.
Putting the battle speed down to 2, that's, in this situation, not a bad idea. Fu is an okay anchor, but being 20 agility is not ideal. Putting that battle speed down 1 notch is a very good little adjustment.
Yes, it's a nice little safety play to be made there. So we have the fight with Zerome to round out this match.
So the crystal is thrown. Chimus is going to be showing his face once again. And then is promptly going to be likely whited out. Considering there's 4 white mages on Cronos.
Throwing out the silk web there to bait the nuke.
Yeah. And is berserking Rose. So we're going to have a Trizerk with likely a couple of extra white nuke and white casts from the other 2.
Meanwhile, Sid is getting a Star Veil up, so we will be seeing some deflection off of him.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to see too much of Sid getting angry because Cecil has just drunk the last wine. Well, that might make him angry, might make Sid angry enough to go berserk, not getting any wine. But yeah, that berserk that's coming is going to just be reflected off, unfortunately. Or did he cast white? He might have cast white. Alright, so
Yeah, it looked like he was looking for another box and didn't find it, so I think he did cast it.
if it's white, that's definitely okay. If it's Barkus, if it's Berserk, it wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it has to be white.
Yeah, there it is.
Might just manually attack with Sid just to clog the queue a little bit. Or throw Q freeze, that works as well.
Sort of trading positions here, Rosa being the melee damage dealer and Sid being white mage.
Throwing out a Cure 4 with Porum as well, just make topping up that a little bit, just make sure food doesn't go down. Porum's still a little bit low as well, so another Big Bang could be dangerous, especially with Rosa currently berserked.
Right.
I think I think he just used his last Cure 3 as well.
I think he's got a couple of elixirs in reserve as well if he absolutely with that large number of hit points, and I think he got the timing correct getting the nuke off and getting reflected bonus damage. I think he's going to have a good nerfed Big Bang coming up.
Yeah, even if it's not nerfed, just getting that extra little bit of damage from that reflected nuke is a little bonus. He should survive any Big Bang that's thrown his way at this point. I think even Pawn will survive a full-powered Big Bang right now with as little gear as they've got.
Right.
I don't think we've seen too much in the way of gear for the White Mage.
I remember getting the heroin robe early, but that's not exactly a White Mage item. Don't remember seeing too much.
And that's likely what Rose has got on with the Zerkin that she's. Big Bang didn't come, so the threshold was reached before the between that Silk Web and the Big Bang, and there's Meteor. So we've only seen.
That is a very well managed getting two rocks very quick.
Yeah, not really surprising considering the levels, but you always want to see a quick Zeromus fight. You don't want it to linger too long, because the more it does, the more you're behind.
And
that last white did it.
That quad 9 white going out in style. GG's to Chrono, finishing off this a little difficult for him, but he still managed a very respectable time.
And we're going to see if we can pull him in and have a little word with him. Congratulations, Chrono. Unfortunate the way it turned out, and it looks like you just had a little bit of trouble with the end of that seed trying to find what you want, but very well played.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting seed.
Yeah, it was a character search the entire way, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was like, oh, Yang must be at the giant. It was Edge.
Yeah, and it was that Sand Ruby. I'm guessing because I sort of missed the first bit due to technical difficulties, but you didn't check the character in Kyber at the start. Is that something you might change in the future?
I might. I sometimes don't even check it until I get to Sand Ruby. Do I need an extra character? I'll check it. I might check it depending on if I see multiple characters in the objective list.
Yeah, this would have been a very ideal one to do it under that. But yeah, if you're looking for just one or none, it would be a difficult one to toss up, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Well, we do have to thank you, by the way, for going and getting the music for us, since Dr. Cossack didn't give us the pleasure of hearing this seed. So thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. At least I can help out.
Yeah, that does make you the second winner of this seed, no matter what, because music is always the fan favorite.
Yep.
So unfortunately, that drops you to 1 and 2. You're still not out of it yet. Are you looking forward to the next round?
Always.
Have you had a look at the list of runners that you might be up against and see anyone you might want to race against or not race against, or don't really care, just want to have them come at you and you just get...
Pretty much just get through it. I try not to look ahead and see who I'm going to go up against. I'd rather leave it blind.
Just worry about them when they actually appear, and then you can prepare for what's to come.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you tonight, but overall, very well played.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any last thoughts about the seed itself, or anything to shout out?
No, not at this time. It was definitely an interesting seed. It almost seemed like everything was going to be on Earth, but some objectives were in the middle.
Yeah. All we can really say is good luck for your next race. Very well played in what you did today, and yeah, we'll hopefully see you again a little bit further down the line.
Yep, will do. Thank you.
So I believe that's going to about do it for us tonight over here at Freon. How do you think that race went?
It was an interesting one to start off with. It got a little bit out of the way further down because of the disparity between where people came, where people did their checks. But we haven't really seen a character search like this on stream, as I'm aware of. We've seen a number of boss searches, we've seen a number of mixed ones, but we haven't seen a pure character search like this. So it's a little bit refreshing and shows the sort of diversity that you might get from this.
No, absolutely. The beauty of the 5 objective system is that you never know exactly what you're going to need to do in every scene in order to get that crystal. So I just want to say congratulations, Dr. Cossack, and thanks to crono200 for giving us a very good race.
And what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be passing you over to our friends in Randomania. They are currently in the middle of their Dragon Warrior randomizer tournament. We are going to pass you over to them, so give them a good welcome hand or hello hand, and cheer whoever's racing on. I'm not too certain who's happening in right now. It's probably going to be a good race. They usually are.
Absolutely. And before we go, I just want to give one more shout out to our tracker, Aunt Dale, and to our restreamer, thanks so much.
Yeah, and to Twisted Flax for being an amazing co-commentator, and we will see you all again very soon.
Have a good one.